Hey, I'm here for the Woman King workout.
Are you sure you ready for this? Weapons training. And some weight training. What is he doing? Come on, man. Come on. You're already sweating and you don't have another 3 pounds.
It's
I guess it's going to be cardio. All right. Come on, keep up. Let's go. Let's go. Woo. Come on. What are you doing?
What? I think I pulled something.
Pull something. I'm about to pull you up out of here.
What? No, I'm sorry! What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Tavern Talk. I'm Philip, and joining me this week, Mrs. Monica McNeal. Thank you for sorry,
tongue twister.
yeah, Monica McNeal. But it's appropriate because it's a great that alliteration for TV,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
And you, thank you for being here because you're used to this. You were on TV, broadcast journalist, meteorologist for 20 years. So,
Absolutely.
no, I really appreciate you being here for this. And I mean, you recently were in the 48-hour film festival here in Little Rock.
I created my own film. I'm still blown away. I'm still trying to, shake it off.
Are you wanting to transition more from the
definitely.
the TV to movie stuff?
Absolutely, 100%. I am. I've been a movie junkie since I was a kid. So
Awesome.
I've always been obsessed with movies and just television and the whole scheme of things. So yeah, this is my jam.
Well, awesome. Well, I can't say thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to see a movie with us. And I'm very happy that you're here to talk about this week's movie. It's called The Woman King. Stars Viola Davis. Viola Davis has been trying to get this movie made for a long time. The story of the Dahomey tribe and the Agojie warriors.
Absolutely.
It's an all-female basically group of soldiers that this tribe in Africa, and it's set in 1823, and it's kind of what separated them from everybody else. So Viola Davis leads this. It's directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood. She, has been around for a long time.
She did Love and Basketball.
Yes, Love and Basketball, all the way up through The Old Guard and a couple years ago on
Absolutely.
Netflix. And
so
that kind of, it was, solid action flick. And so it kind of makes sense that this is where she went next.
Right.
But obviously, kind of the bit here on the show is we just walked out of the theater from seeing The Woman King. And first question, obviously, initial reaction. What did you think?
Yeah. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. Let me tell you something. It has everything that you are. For me, it had everything.
Yeah.
It had highs and lows. It's exciting. It made me want to cry. I love the story. It made me feel vulnerable. We were looking at fearless, bad women. It's everything.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I was looking forward to this, but didn't know exactly what to expect. I'd heard a lot about, the tribe it was based on, the history around it, and there's been a little bit of controversy around the history of it because of, I guguess in real life, the Dahomey tribe was, and it does touch on this, they were involved in the slave trade.
Right, absolutely.
And that they were as active in that even before Europeans started coming over and everything. And it kind of, it definitely addresses that. I don't think it is trying to necessarily rewrite history in any way.
And I don't think that is the sole story of it.
That's exactly it.
I think that's kind of like the underlining, and it's as important, but I think it's more based on this group of fearless women who were very vulnerable.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it is so it is it's based in factual events and people that did exist. But this is like a fictional story because it is a way in to like tell this story of empowering women and like how the women interact with one another at this level, because outside of this tribe, women didn't have these types of opportunities anywhere else, especially at that time in history.
Right.
And so, yeah, I thought it was, I kind of put that stuff, that like the historical context of it aside, and just tried to enjoy, the movie for what it was. And I thought it was great. Like, we just don't get historical epics like this anymore.
No, you don't. You just don't. And like you said earlier, it took her like between 6 and 10 years to have this movie made. It's her production company, her and her husband.
Right.
So they had to jump through a whole lot of hoops to get this movie made, and it's a cast of all women, so that would be very difficult to get it made, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, also going back to kind of like, opportunities women have.
Absolutely.
Even today, especially in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Women of color especially don't get the opportunities, the representation that, especially in big productions like this.
Exactly.
So, it's very cool to see that. It's very cool to see like real locations. Like
That's what I love.
Yeah, I read that they shot this in Africa around Cape Town and everything. Like the real locations, you could tell it was hundreds of extras, not all CGI extras.
Absolutely.
And the battle scenes, like there was something really visceral about it all.
Oh, definitely. And one of the main characters, that was her hometown, Nawi. That was her hometown. She was so excited about it being made there. So
yeah, and speaking of characters, there's a lot of characters here, and I really enjoyed a lot of the dynamics between them. But what were some of your favorites?
Okay, so of course Viola Davis.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her. I think she did a phenomenal job. The other character that I like, there are four main characters, and there was a very tall, slim lady.
Sheila Ateem is her name, and she's kind of Viola Davis's like right-hand lady.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like she was a good sounding board, and she was good at giving sound advice to Viola.
Yeah, because she was like kind of a confidant, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Viola, I mean, again, we don't want to give too much away, but like
it's hard not to.
She is. I don't know if this is. She's experienced some trauma.
Yeah. Trauma.
The ramifications of what she's experienced in the past and how that is coming around at this specific time of the story that this movie is telling is really kind of like her character's journey in this movie. And so she needs someone to kind of like, because she's locked that part of herself away. And
I think also what was important about Viola's character, at least for me, is that she was so hard. The trauma that she experienced brought vulnerability. It made her vulnerable.
Yeah.
It made her relatable, because I think the role that she was playing was just so, I don't want to say masculine, but it was very it was hard to have compassion and feel her.
Yeah, she put that shield up.
She did.
Yeah.
She had that shield up, and when again, we're not telling the movie, but when she experiences this trauma, and it is revealed what is happening, it makes you're more in tune to her.
Right.
You admire her heroism, her being such a hero and so strong, but boy, she was tough.
Yeah. And speaking of toughness, I think one of my favorite characters in the whole movie was Lashana Lynch. She plays a character named Agojie. She's kind of like this enforcer character. Yeah. She's like the toughest of the tough.
She is tough, absolutely.
And she's kind of like comes to mentor. So our in to the story is this young girl who her father is trying to marry her off. She's not having it. Right. So her father like donates her to the king, basically. Yep. And she wants to be a warrior. She wants to be a soldier for the king. Yeah. And so and so our into the story is this young girl, Nawi Uzo Mbedu, who plays her. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But and I thought she, as much Lashana Lynch kind of steals every scene she's in.
Yeah, she does.
But the young girl is very good as well.
She's very good. She was in another series on Prime called Underground.
The Barry Jenkins Underground Railroad one?
Yeah, she was in that on Prime, and I She was very good on that, but she was excellent in this to me.
Yeah, she started off, and I was kind of like Viola's character. I was like, I don't know if I like her too much. She's a little cocky.
Yeah.
But as the movie goes along, as kind of secrets are revealed, layers are peeled back.
Yes.
I was like, okay,
that's a serious onion of layers
peeling
back, right?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yes.
And I'm curious to ask you because at first, again, I don't want to spoil too much, but there are some like plot lines as far as some familial secrets and past things. Yeah. And I thought that there was one including like one of the perpetrators of Viola Davis's trauma. I thought that was fine, but at first I didn't know if we needed that kind of other connection they set up. By the end, I'd come around to it because it was like it like helped hammer the emotional heart of the story home.
Exactly.
But at first I was a little hesitant to it. So if you kind of feel the same way, know that by the end it kind of earns that.
And so you felt that way. I felt like that protagonist, they did not, for a while there, I was like, I need them to flesh his character out more. I wasn't in touch with him being this bad guy that he was. But by the time the end of the movie, I realized who he was and how bad he really was. But I wasn't getting that at first.
No, there's, and they kind of play that with a lot of the male characters because there's like two of the European guys, there's a white guy and a
racial guy.
And we don't get a lot, we get just enough of an outline of them to understand their objectives in the story.
Absolutely.
But this is, it's called The Woman King. This is about Viola Davis and her army. But no, other than that, I did also want to like just talk or just mention at least the action sequences here. Because
it looked amazing.
We mentioned the real locations, everything, but it looked really good. Like you could tell there wasn't a lot of. There's a lot of stuntmen, but there wasn't a lot of fast cutting. They kept it wide in these real locations, and you could just, like I said, feel the reality of not just the locations, but like every hit and every sword.
And as he's talking about the fight scenes, those women worked out for 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
3 hours of, they said like 3 hours of weightlifting, and then they had to learn martial arts.
I believe it.
Can you imagine? Viola Davis said they had to run on the treadmill at like 9.2. Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So, and when you see their bodies and you see, this workout, that when you see them in the movie, you have to have a lot of respect. And they did a lot of their own stunts. Too.
I heard that as well. And you can tell again because there's not a lot of cutting around for stunt people. Like they're in it, you can see their faces.
That's right.
Like,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's very you're very much in tune with the battles with them, and it just creates a whole other level of just investment.
It had me investing. I painted my face. I was ready. I thought I was like a woman king up in there.
Hey, I think that is one of, and you tell me if this is right, but like, obviously empowerment is one of the main things of it. So it seemed to come across really well. What was kind of your take on that?
The empowerment, and I like the unity. There's one particular scene where a character breaks the orders. Yeah. Okay? And this character goes out on their own, but just to find that the rest of their team works with them or comes along with them. So there's so much unity there, and that was one of the most important things to me in the movie because that played out throughout the movie, the support and the unity that they had working together. You can move, I think you move a little bit better when you are cohesive.
Yeah, and kind of like we were saying earlier, that arc, that really helps complete the arc of Viola Davis's character because it is something for her when she's a person who has completely served the tribe and the king her whole life, and
couldn't have said it better.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
I should also mention John Boyega shows up here as the king, and in Unity he is very much a champion kind of for unifying the men and women of his tribe. And we could probably talk about this much longer, especially if we went into more detail and spoiled a little bit more of the movie. But this is kind of initial reaction. So what would your here on Tavern Talk we do an out of 5-star rating? So what would your initial reaction rating be to The Woman King?
You said 5?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give it, can I give it a 4.75?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 4.75. I'm not going to give it a complete 5. It was amazing. There were some slow moments in it for me that I was like, okay, could have tightened that up. But other than that, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
So I definitely give it a 4.75 if that's a real number.
Sure.
All right.
Hey, yeah. I'm just going to give it like a solid 4. Like
Okay.
I really thought it was just I liked the scale of it. I liked the I mean, obviously the acting's incredible, but I just like appreciated the lengths it went to execute this story in the fashion that it did. And it's just a really solid, well-made movie, and it is kind of an epic, and we don't get a lot of those anymore. The themes of the empowerment, the women, the relationships between them, and how it just lends a different flavor to this type of war epic than if it were following, a group of men, no matter race or whatever.
Right. And it's so timely, especially with the climate that we're living in now.
Of course, yeah.
That movie just really just fits right in, and it was very timely.
Yeah, it's not surprising that now is the time that she finally was able to get it made.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Thank you.
And I'm very happy that she was able to get it made.
Too.
So,
Me too.
But thank you, Monica, for doing this. I really appreciate
pleasure. I'm
having
so
you here.
excited.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for taking the time to do this. And thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. We post a new review of the biggest release every week, so you hit that notification bell. You'll get a notification when we do that. Thank you to the Movie Tavern. They let us see the movies here every week, shoot the show in the theater. So thank you to them. If you have one near you, check that out as well. But that is it for this week. Thank you guys. Thank you once again.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.
Start from here, and then she's beating the hell out of him.
Okay.
Zoom in. There you go.
All right, first up, it's going to be some weapons training. Oh my God, this is 3 pounds. That's nothing. Sad.
Is that all right?
Did it look all right?